Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Makabadash. Excuse me. I'm going to entitle this video, They Know the Lord and the Angels Are Coming Back. Obviously, to deliver the elect of Israel. Anyway, this is from a video search for aliens included in defense bill. And this is only 5 minutes long. 2 seconds shy of 5 minutes long. I don't know how long I'm going to make this because we already know the precepts on the ships. And let's see where the Spirit takes me. Maybe the Spirit will lead me into other topics as well. But anyway, I just want you to listen. I hope you can hear it. Sometimes the sound is muffled when you try to record on another video. So let's see what happens.
Are we alone in the universe? Have we been visited by aliens? Terrestrial species, two able questions, of course, probably asked sometime or another. A new government program aims to try and answer this question. Part of the National Defense Authorization Act, a new program, will investigate for an unidentified aerial phenomena, or what we call UFOs. Share that information firstly with other countries. High-tech telescopes, infrared cameras, and other technology will reportedly be used to collect data from space and objects that.
Now, he mentioned the National Defense Authorization Act, which former President Barack Obama added some things to it because it's been around. You know, it's not a new act, but he expanded upon it. Anyway, it's being expanded as far as outside the Earth, aliens as they call it, UAPs, formerly known as UFOs, UAPs meaning unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is a term from England. While over here in the States, they use the acronym UFOs. England's been using UAPs for the longest. So, you know, why did they change the acronyms? It's pretty obvious, you know. The power is coming from the dragon, which is represents the other part of the beast, so to speak. So let's listen to a little bit more.
Pilots, including our fighter pilots, say they've encountered it. This isn't the first time that the U.S. government has dealt with UFOs. In 2017, the Pentagon said it ran a secret program dedicated to investigating UFOs, unidentified aerial phenomena. And earlier this year, U.S. government report confirmed the investigation of more than 140 quote-unquote incidents of U.S. unidentified aerial phenomena over more than 2 decades. So while the government said it had no evidence of alien encounters, it also did not explain these sightings. So, discuss all this to our filmmaker and author, Sean Stone, doing the show. Sean, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. So, is this program really about finding, aliens?
But this guy, Sean Stone, is the son of what's this guy? He made the movie maker. He made the movie Platoon. Again, I can't remember his name. Jeff Stone or whatever. Mike Stone, I believe. But anyway, this is his son. And he's been into, he has been involved in documentaries, and he goes into a lot of unexplained things, conspiracy. He would be considered a conspiracy nut. Anyway, so let's listen.
Or more so, considering it's under National Defense Authorization Act, finding out if other governments and foreign militaries are spying on the U.S. or
That's a bad question. It's hard to say that would be the motivation that we have with the British Space Force. So it's supposed to now. Historically, the National Reconnaissance Office is actually very interesting for a lot of the UFO exploration issues. Yes, how about the NRO? It's not those, some of those organizations, but it seems to be sort of monitoring the alien question. So, what is this role about? Well, like the question, I think it's a logical follow-up to kind of most of us who've been looking at the UFO question was what's performing, for decades since Roswell, 47. You will have to say this factual element, though, like the slowest of giving up another. It's clear that this has been recognized as a phenomenon for decades. Is this just another low account of money that's from the taxpayer and some other wasted one of over the years, the last trillions of dollars of work for it was, cheapers are around 2001, the Rumsfeld settled 6 trillion. Some professors are saying up to 21 trillion or more is what I'm listening from US government. So is this just another low cycling that money? You got to scratch your head.
Yeah, and one of the program reportedly also, by the way, seeks to investigate not only unidentified aerial phenomena and share information with other countries. Right. Let's see about that. But also tell Congress if other nations or some other entity are behind the cases and checking the reports of service members who have experienced health issues after encountering or not. I mean, really the question is, are we going to get the full truth? I laugh and I kind of make light of it, but do we really think, do you think that they're going to share information with other countries if they find any of this out? We're even with the Congress about that.
Well, certainly, look, I believe certain nations will share between countries. It's clear that people, even the elected officials, do not have full understanding. I mean, there's going to be some of those faculty that say, my gosh, they're looking at the Iran controversy, so now that's kind of black budgets that, but we don't even recognize it in Congress. We don't even know fully where this money is going. You imagine the president becomes in for 4 to 8 years, he's getting the full, top secret contracts for the access. No, I mean, there's a deeper state that's at work here in the U.S. When it comes to UFOs,
You heard what he said. There's a deeper state here in the U.S. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna look up this guy more." I used to watch him. He had a show on RT. I believe it was called Watching the Hawks or something to that effect. Alongside Jesse Ventura's son, and they went into a lot of conspiratorial stuff. Anyway, yeah, things are popping, boy. We got that. Yeah, I'll be getting more notifications from the Odyssey. Everybody got to go to Odyssey, man, because they just put, just to say this on the side, come back into this video here. The Apostle Cabal had got pissed off. They took down another video, and I'm pretty sure the video they put up wasn't all that controversial. You say the littlest things now, and they take, they pull your video down. I'm surprised that they allowed last video that I put up, which was like more than 2 hours long. And that pretty much, it was like pretty much almost like a last warning to the IUIC. They refuse to see it because it's pride. The going into the subject of the charagma, it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. It's in your face right now. Literally in your face. They're actually doing it. It's not something that we're talking about and we believe. It's actually happened. It's big over there in Sweden. And it's going to come over here. Anyway, Odyssey is the way to go. If you're putting up what you think is a controversial video, you better know that you put it up on YouTube, they're gonna take it down, they're gonna strike you. And then they go, oh, you might have strikes from 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden they cut your page. And over there at Odyssey, they don't do that, you know? Let's listen to a little bit more, then I'll say a few words, see what precepts hit me. There's precepts already in my head concerning the ships.
Technology involved, it's so advanced that we're not going to get the answers given to us by the government.
Stay tuned. I guess we'll see what comes out of this. Who exactly is going to be involved and what departments, what agencies, the program. Sean Stone, appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, so we said a few things. Anyway, let me just find Blue Letter tab. You know what? Wait a minute. Bear with me for a minute. The first precept that popped in my head. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man, which is our Lord Yahweh Shai, waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. The thousands of heaven represent the angels. Right behind him is Michael the archangel, in Revelation chapter 12. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him, which is the earth. That's in Isaiah 24. And as I have said before, all these prophetic scriptures from the various major and minor prophets, that's what Esau came up with, major and minor prophets, they all saw the same event, but in different forms. Sometimes they saw actual so-called UFOs. Sometimes they saw actual beasts. Sometimes they saw actual people. So when you get scholars, as I've said before, that go through the scriptures and try to understand the scriptures, which they're not going to do. They have some understanding because they watch our videos too. But the full, to fully open their eyes, the Most High is not going to do. Daniel 12 verse 10 and what is that? Psalms 10, I believe that's Psalms 10 and 4. The Most High is not in all of their thoughts. It says, fourth verse, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. Meaning what? This is written in a parabolic way. It's not talking about the movie Sale with John Cusack and Samuel Jackson, where people are on the phone, all of a sudden they bug out, shit start coming out their mouth, they start killing each other. It ain't talking about that. It's talking about at his command, those lasers are going to destroy the people and the inhabitants of the earth in a particular place, also around the world, but mainly the focus is on Babylon the Great. And simultaneously, the elect will be beamed up, if you will, into the ships. And I believe it's the one ship. I believe the elect will be beamed up in Yahweh Shai's ship, because it said we're going to meet the Lord in the air, right? We're going to meet the Lord in the air along with the men that died in his truth, and for that matter, the woman. It says, so we'll be able to meet. That's going to be a great thing. We'll be able to meet Abba. He'll be like a young man in a extraterrestrial angelic type body. We'll be able to meet Mashah, King Mashah, Yaikwab, and any other brothers that have passed during this time period, and in the past. There's a couple brothers that, passed. There's a brother that was very close to us, the heads, that had got sick and he had passed. And it was, hey, it took me two years to get over that man passing, man. And my brother died. I wouldn't nothing. I ain't feel nothing. My sister died. Really didn't feel nothing, man. But when he passed, that really got to me. It really put the hooks in me. Inside joke. Anyway, it says, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire, because that's Peter spoke about the old world being destroyed by water and this world being destroyed by fire. That fire, as we all know, should know, are what we call the ICBMs. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the earth. That's also in Matthew 24. That's to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So this interview that you saw, this short interview, let me see if I can find it back. Bear with me for a minute. Here it is. Is this it? Give me a second. Oh, no, that's not it. I'm sorry. I don't know, maybe okay, I can't find it right now, but that's okay. It was a video with this guy Stone about UFOs. I couldn't find it. I think I went over it with this page. Anyway, the fifth verse, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea, which is our Lord, Yahweh Shai. Isaiah 47, I shall not meet thee as a man. He's coming as an angelic force, an angelic power. It says in Isaiah, I believe that's Isaiah 52:13 or 53 verse 13. It said they shall stop their mouths. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. So we know that that's a gigantic ship. Now you have this mountain retreat in Colorado. I believe it's called, and I did videos on this, a Cheyenne Mountain Retreat. And you have military in there. You're gonna have certain lords, I would say, in there. And they said that it can hold well over 1 million people. So when we're talking about the elect, that's 144,000, and the multitude in Revelation 7, verse 9, which are also part of the elect, as we call the 1/3. So is it possible that the elect can be beamed up into one ship? And the reason why I say one ship is because that's in it says in Psalms 91 that the angels will take charge over us. But it says in but it says in Revelations, black Christ will slay, inside joke. Anyway, let me do this. Pull up another blue letter tab. I ain't donate shit. Revelation. And like I said, you don't have to, go to the precepts and put let me see if I can remember all the precepts on the so-called UFOs are already in your head. Zechariah 5, Psalms 68, Isaiah, what is that? Isaiah 66, verse 15, just to name a few. And see, these Christian scholars don't know. They don't, if you take these particular scriptures, that the UFO scriptures, I call them, the chariot scriptures, and you go to a commentary, biblical commentary, Bible commentary, Edomites will give you all kind of answers as to what this means, but they're not going to say it's talking about UFOs. They're not going to say, oh, those are the ICBMs, because they don't know. Their eyes are not open. The only thing that they have to go by is what we say. Revelation 11. I'll breeze through this. And their bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. That's Babylon. That's not Vatican City, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Our Lord was crossed out in this country. The only thing we, as children, we all thought that the Lord was a white man, because your mothers made sure you believed that bullshit, because it was your mothers that brought you in this church, to the church. It says, and they, the people in the kindreds, blah, 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 blah. I want to go right to the point. This is what I want, the 11th verse. Revelation, I'm singing to the choir, and that's why I'm breezing through this. And after 3 days and a half, which represents from the time we got over here up until the time that Abba, King Mashar, High Priest Ariah, High Priest Yaikwab, and the rest of the 7. Give me 1 second. That was a call I was waiting on anyway. Forgive me. I have more notifications from Odyssey. You hear that chime in the background. It says 11 verse, Revelation 11, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. Now that spirit of life is also the breath that was given to Adam, the first Adam. That breath was also given to the disciples that became apostles when our Lord breathed on them. What he breathed on them was the spirit of life. Now we had actual breath, hearts and lungs, and we can breathe and think. But this breath or spirit represents the truth. And this was only given to a certain number of people, as you know, or should know, which we call the elect, which the scriptures referred to as the elect. And this is why you got, for example, you have Sarnetta and the Kemetic crowd, I'll call them, constantly coming against us. They're not saying, well, just like vocab, they're not saying, you know what, these guys ain't gonna budge. Let's go to other people. Let's not deal with them no more. No, they keep coming to us because in their spirit, they know through their subconscious that we have something, that we have the truth, but it's not conscious to them. They haven't fully opened up to it. And if they don't change, they will accept the charagma and they will be put to death most likely by fire. So, you know, you guys saw Netta, when he first encountered us, he said, I'm a Hebrew, and went back to being Kemet. Then he been cursing us out at GMS for years, mainly over the rape thing. Now through the years, you got this molestation, allegedly, I'll say allegedly, innocent until proven guilty with Polite. And then you had like another thing with Shaka, which I didn't get all into. I didn't hear all of it. But there's some allegations over that. So, you know, these people that bucked up against us, they get caught up in it, man. You know? And we're not, because we're not going around raping people. We're just saying that it's scriptural. But because people get emotional, you know, IUIC, ISUPK, and others, they get emotional. Instead of reading the scriptures, they get emotional. And, you know, you can't get this if you're emotional. You can't say, oh, I'm not following that particular scripture because it doesn't go with my, well, guess what? You are not of the elect. Point blank, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. It says, and after the 3 days, and I have the spirit of life from the Father entered into them, into who? The elect. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And great fear fell upon them which saw them. And this is what what's this guy from the IUIC? Damn, I can't think of his name, but he was saying these guys are just pushing fear. Well, it says when we stand on our feet, great fear is going to fall on them, including Israelites. Asaph said that. They're just pushing fear. And you're supposed to fear. You're supposed to fear to the point where you say, well, let me get with this whole Israelite thing. And this also goes hand in hand with Ezekiel 37. Stood up on their feet, bones came together with sinews and the covering, and a breath was eventually given to them, which is the spirit of life. The spirit of life is the breath. And this guy, Asaph, also said in the video I did yesterday, that we think we're the exclusive group. We are the exclusive group. We're bringing you 100% truth. We're the only group that can say that we have 100% truth. All right? It says, 12 verse, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, like I said, I'm singing to the choir. This is stuff we already know. I'm just going through these scriptures, all right? Comfort one another with these sayings. Comfort one another with these scriptures. So this is like an old song that you sing. You know, I'll start humming it, and then somebody in the back of the car starts singing, you know? And that's what we're doing. We're just singing this song. We're just singing certain songs, if you will, that's in the scriptures. This is music to our ear. You know? It says, come up hither. And that literally means, as a matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. 12 verse. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Let me go to the commentary to see what they say about this. Wow, I did a video on that. Hyperinflation. Hyperinflation. Okay, let me do it this way. Put Google. I'd use DuckDuckGo as well, which is better than supposedly. Okay, Revelation 11, verse 12. Like I said, this is stuff that we know. You know, you watch the video, you don't. You brothers that's been in this thing from the beginning, you already know everything out loud. Like I said, I'm singing to the choir. Okay, Bible Hub. Let's see what the commentary says. Okay, let's try. I normally go to Ellicott. Sometimes mostly I go to Cambridge Bible for schools and colleges. They heard probably not the two prophets only, but they that beheld them in a cloud should be in a cloud, the same perhaps that receive their Lord out of his disciples' sight. I'm sorry, that received their Lord out of his disciples' sight. Anyway, the cloud, what are they referencing to? They're making a reference to Acts 1 with the two men in white saying, why look ye in the heaven gazing? The same Lord that was taken up in the cloud shall come in like manner. And that cloud was not no cumulus cloud. It was an actual UFO. It was regarded as a permanently reoccurring phenomenon like the phenomenon, unidentified aerial phenomenon. That's one of their words. When they say phenomenon, as in UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. We don't know what it is, but we're gonna call it a phenomenon, like the rainbow in Revelation 10. And that's clear. So they know, but they don't know. It's there, but it's not there. Let's look up the word phenomenon. Let me do this here. Phenomenon meaning. Phenomenon. A phenomenon is an observable fact or event. The term came into its modern philosophical usage through Immanuel Kant, who contrasted with the nomenon, which cannot be directly observed. Kant was heavily influenced by blah, 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 blah. Let me go here to Merriam. Phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Essential meaning of phenomenon, something such as an interesting fact or event that can be observed and studied. And that's what they do. They observe and they study. what are these things in the sky? Is it technology from the Russians or the Germans or whatever, or is it actually aliens? So it's a big question mark to them. And that typically is usually or difficult to understand or explain fully. They're not going to tell you the full explanation is that they're angels. They're angels scoping the land. Like the spies that Moses sent out to spy out the land of Canaan. Well, these are angels coming down in ships and chariots spying out the land before they destroy it. This is going to be a military endeavor. They're coming in a military way. When the Lord and the angels come back, they're coming back for war. This is a good one too. Someone or something that is very impressive or popular, especially because of an unusual ability or quality. That's why they call it phenomenon. UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, because they have special qualities and abilities. They got the one with the tic tac. They call it the tic tac UAP, where it's flying and they try to catch it on the radar, and they lock into it, then it dives right into the ocean. Sometimes they have stacks and stacks of information and videos of these UFOs, man, because they watch the skies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And they see them small. They see fleets of them. They see them disappear and reappear. They'll appear on the radar, but you can't physically see it, or you can physically see it, but they can't appear on the radar. They've seen them grow. They've seen them change shapes. I seen a UFO was a square UFO, maybe 3 stories high. This building was 3 stories high. It was right above the building, and it was moving very slow. And it looked like the Borg ship in Star Trek: The Next Generation with Captain Picard. That's what the ship looked like. And all of a sudden, it went in one direction, then it slowly went into another direction, moving very slow. And then it just changed. It changed shapes. It morphed into a saucer with lights around it. And it started spinning, and you could clearly see it was like a spaceship, either like Star Trek or, one of them sci-fi flicks. And all of a sudden, it picked up speed and it disappeared. It went into the speed of light. It moved into the speed of light, or faster, because it disappeared. I mean, it shot through the heavens. And that's when I first came into the truth, back in the 80s. So it says someone or something that is very impressive or popular, especially because of an unusual ability or quality. And that's what they have. They do things that Esau can't do. The one video I went through, and I think I did a video on that, where you had this one scientist. He said that these things do. He said, I come to the conclusion, or he had a meeting with other scientists, and I wish I knew what video it was. I'll bring it up. He said, we come to the conclusion that these UFOs or UAPs are anywhere from 100 to 1,000 years far more advanced than us. So, if you take a dog fighter, They call the UFOs food fighters, but dog fighters from World War I against a modern day fighter jet. The World War I dog fighter hasn't a chance. He'll get blasted out. So when the Lord comes back and the angels them come back, it's gonna be, as Floyd would say, easy work. Easy work. Anyway, let's come back. I'm basically taking an egg omelet and putting all kind of tasty things in it. So when you eat it, it's more, it tastes, oh, this is an omelet? This omelet is, this omelet is banging. But because I put, I'm putting that flavor in it, man. This is basic information, man. These are basic scriptures which we all should know. It says, 6th verse, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. Like I said, Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, which is a ship, and their enemies beheld them, Esau, the other nations, and the 2/3. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell in the earthquake, were a slain of men, 7 meaning completion. Anybody that's here in Babylon will be destroyed. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you're not part of the elect. But notice right here, the middle of 12, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, one cloud. That's got to be the ship. Now it's it says a little bit different in Psalms 91. In Psalms 91, that whole chapter is dedicated to the Lord coming back. So when you read the book of Psalms are prophetic as well. The Proverbs is prophetic. Ecclesiasticus is prophetic. The Sirach, also known as the book of Sirach. And it's beautiful that these Edomite scholars like, Vocab, which he's trying to be a scholar, he's growing in this. He's learning more scriptures. He's learning how to navigate through the scriptures somewhat by watching us. We bigged him up. We put him, we put the rockets in his back. So he's trying to get deeper. But, he's not going to accept this. He's not going to accept it. But he's going to have to accept it. So where we at? Let me give you one more precept. Like I said, when it comes to the subject of UFOs, you don't have to go to your backpack and get the notebook or go to your notes. These so-called, what I call UFO scriptures, are in the mental Rolodex, spiritual Rolodex. Okay, it says, the angel Michael. Revelation 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. So who's the dragon? And the dragon fought, and his angels, and this is written in a parabolic way, is written in code. Because if it said the archangel Michael and his angels fought against NATO, the EU nations, and the US, military combat up in space or up in the air, they'll take it out. They'll make it. They'll outlaw the Bible. The Bible is written in code. Revelation 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and this is yet to come, and his angels fought against the dragon, which are the elite of Esau and his military. And the dragon fought, and his angels represent what? His men that are in these fighter jets and so forth, and prevailed not. The dragon is not going to prevail, which is Esau. Revelation chapter 20 tell you that old dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. That's who? That's Esau. And it's not talking about some regular Edomite walking down the street. He's part of Esau, but the dragon part is, but they're all a part of it in one way or another. The dragon part is the actual military part of the beast, let's say. The beast, when it speaks about the first beast, the Roman Empire, is the reason why it's called a beast, because beasts devour other beasts weaker than them. So we know it's not an actual beast. You know what? Let me do this. Please forgive me. And prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. It says here, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent was the devil and Satan, which deceived the world. They first deceived us through what? Their Edomite form of Christianity, which is, I call it Renaissance Christianity, the whole world. And that's what they did. He was cast out onto the earth, and the angels were cast out, and his angels were cast out with him. What just came? Something just came to mind. Wow, wow. Oh. 7 verse says, he thought it was a mountain, Ezra, and looked down and didn't see where it was cut out of. And after that I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him was sore afraid, and yet does fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, at his command, as it had been a blast of fire. That's a laser. And out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Tempests, that's talking about lasers, concentrated fire. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, flaming breath, and a great tempest, and fell with violence upon, what does it say in Revelation 18:21? Thus with violence, a great millstone, violence upon the multitude, which was prepared to fight, which in Revelation 12 is the dragon and his angels, which we know is NATO and the EU, which includes America and Canada, burned them up, every one, mainly Babylon, so that upon the sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived. There was no place found in heaven, Revelation 12, but only dust and smell of smoke. So the Lord actually gonna come back and smoke their asses. When I saw this, I was afraid. Yeah, he was afraid. You gotta understand, Ezra is a Greek way of saying Ezra. He saw, and it was better, deeper than a movie. It was like a hologram. So it was all around him. You know, you have surround sound where you have surround vision. It was all around him. When he turned around to look behind him, he saw angels over there. When he turned back around a 180, he saw angels and he saw fire. He saw all this, so he got afraid. But he recorded for us today. And look, Ezra didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what this was all about. There's certain precepts where the angel explains it to him, and they still don't know. John didn't know all those visions, but it was explained to him. We know it now. It said, afterwards saw I the same man come down from the mountain, the ship, and call unto him another peaceable multitude that represent us, the Israelites. And there came much people unto him, wherefore some were glad. Who were glad? The ones that were delivered. Some were sorry. What does that represent? You're going to have Israelites that have not made it, that when we go and encounter them, they're going to have their heads down, and they're going to have their head down in the kingdom. And they'll get over it. That's Daniel, the 12th chapter. And listen to this. And some of them were bound. That's slavery, vocab. That's slavery. And others, some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and has counted me worthy that thou should have received my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream, which I'm not going to go into, because we already know what it means. It's getting ready to happen. What was I going to do? Bear with me for a minute. Okay, it said some were glad, some were sorry, and some were bound. Some were bound. Let's look up the word bound. Let's go to the common. Okay, I said I was going to go to this. Yeah, it's getting a little long. Anyway. Oh, let me come back to this Cambridge School for Cambridge Bible for schools and colleges. It says in a cloud should be the cloud, the same perhaps that received the Lord out of his disciples' sight. Acts 1. Anyway, the cloud is regarded as a permanently occurring phenomenon. We broke that word down, like the rainbow in Revelation 10 and 1. So let's go to Revelation 10 and 1 real quick. You do it this way. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud. So this angel was in the ship, and a rainbow, and I mentioned that this UFO sighting that I saw, it had the colors, it changed shapes. It morphed into a saucer and had many colors around it, like the rainbow. And a rainbow was upon his head, meaning John was seeing the ship, and his face, meaning the face of the ship, not the angel, was as it were the sun, meaning they had a light, like you have headlights on your car. And his feet as pillars of fire, meaning the landing part. What John saw was a UFO. And who was in the UFO? It was an angel. And he had in his hand a little book that represents the scriptures. And he set his feet, his right foot upon the sea and his left foot upon the earth, meaning that was a good sized ship. It says, and cry with a loud voice, speaker system, as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 angels uttered, and write them not. So John heard some things, but the angel said, nope, don't write them. So we don't know what was said. Oh, I said I was going to look up the word bound, right? Then I'm going to close it. Okay, bound. Meaning. Let's see what it says. Bound, fastened by, or as if by a band. When they slap the cuffs on your ass, you're bound. You're physically bound. Then they get your information, and then you're bound by documentation. Then they do the fingerprints or whatever. So you're in the system. They got where you live, what your name is, what your aliases are, your fingerprints. So they bound you in the system. Now, if they do it falsely, like we got falsely, time to get falsely arrested, you shouldn't arrest that guy because he really wouldn't commit a crime. And you can turn around and sue them. It said place under legal or moral restraint or obligation. So you're bound by the paperwork. That's in Jeremiah 30. Because it said we're no longer going to be bound. Let's get that. And I'm going to close. Jeremiah 30. And by the way, Jeremiah 30 speaks about the time of Jacob's trouble, and it's going to happen now. Bishop Nate said, or Nathaniel said, oh, there's not going to be no time of Jacob's trouble. Well, wait a minute. If there's not going to be, there it goes, it's acting up. If there's not going to be let me bring this back. Now it's acting up. Let's do this. Jeremiah, let's see. Jeremiah 30. Let me just go to the point. This is a short chapter anyway, relatively short. Jeremiah 30, verse 7, alas, for that day is great, which is yet to come, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble. So will there be a Jacob trouble? Yeah. It's spoken about in Daniel 12:1. But he shall be saved out of it. The elect shall be saved out of it. 8th verse. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst his bonds, which is bounds or bonds. They put a bond on you. And strangers meaning other nations, Esau in this case, shall no more serve themselves of him. They got us through, and they got Jake out there selling drugs, Jake out there doing shit. All them dudes are in the system. All them dudes, any of y'all that have a career in criminal activity, they snatch your ass up. So they got you in the system. So when they catch you again, they go to your record. They see that when you were 15, you stole your first car. When you were 18, you stole your second car. When you were 20, you stole your third car. So then they catch you stealing the car. So they know when they go to trial, they said, look, this guy got a track record of stealing cars. So you know it's this nigga. They got the fingerprints on you. They got DNA on you. You in the system. So you can never take down Esau. UJ can never take down Esau. You're in the system. The only way you overcome him is when the Most High breaks those the bonds on you. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushua Shem Bakar Kodash. And I'll have to use this saying that Elder Malcolm uses, and a Babal.